So now we're going to go over vectors. So vectors are just a way to describe position, which is kind of confusing, but we really just think of a triangle for this. And after vectors, we're going to get into speed and acceleration, and then we're going to go from that over to energy. So vectors, right? So vectors are really describing x position, y position, z position, right? So for example, and I like to use, speed since you're already there. All right, if we know that Jimmy, and I apologize for this, I have to get like a keyboard. Anyways, Jimmy here, he decides that he's gonna go out for a walk, and he goes 5 miles north. Then he goes 5 miles east. Then he goes 10 miles south. And then he goes 15 miles west. So we're gonna ask two different questions here. Number one, what is the distance traveled? Distance. And the second question we're gonna ask is what is the displacement? Whatever. Kind of hard to write with the mouse. So distance is easy. Okay. Distance, you literally just ignore the direction, right? Because distance is like speed, in which it has no direction. Displacement is like velocity. It does have direction, so that matters. But for distance, it's easy, right? So how much did you walk when you went outside, right? Don't worry about how much. Like for example, if you ran in a circle, right? For if you ran a mile in a circle, and somebody tells you how long did you run, you're gonna tell them the distance. I ran a mile. Because if you told them the displacement is gonna be zero, but we're gonna get to that. Anyways, distance traveled for Jimmy here is 5 plus 5 plus 10 plus 15. 15 plus 15 is 30 plus 5 is 35. So the third distance traveled by Jimmy is 35 miles. That's a lot. It must have taken him a while. Displacement is a bit different though. Displacement matters, the direction really matters. Okay, so for that we're going to draw a quick diagram, right? We're going to pretend here we have a graph over here. So the first thing that Mr. Jimmy does is he goes north for 5 miles. So this is my best attempt at a north line. And then Mr. Jimmy here decides to go 5 miles east. So again, we start from the axis and go east. Okay. And I know these are not the same and it's the same distance, but whatever. Don't worry about it. 5 meters east. That's a 5. Don't judge me. And then Mr. Jimmy here goes 10 miles south. 10 miles south. And then Mr. Jimmy here goes 15 miles west. Right? 15 miles west. Okay. So we really just have to cancel out the things that are going in the opposite direction and see which direction is the most positive, right? So let's start with north and south, right? You say 10 meters going south, 10 miles going south, and 5 miles going north. 5 minus 10 is 5, right? And it's since the south is greater, we're going to go that way. So Jimmy's going to actually go 5 miles south. South. And then to the left and the right, we have 15 miles west, and then 5 miles east. 15 minus 5 is 10. So we have 10 here. 10 miles west. And now you see you have two different directions here, right? So this is the next part of the process, right? So as we see here, our boy is going to go south. He's going to go west, so he's kind of going to go in somewhat in this direction here, right? And if you see here, this is kind of like a straight line. So we're going to change things up just a little bit, right? We know we're going to go west and we know we're going to go south, and we have to kind of form a triangle with what we have so we can get this other side here. And this other side here is what we use Pythagoras theorem for, right? So let's go back to this 5 miles south, right? Our 5 miles south. And then, since we know that we're going to be going in the southwest direction, we're going to go draw this line over here. This will be our 10 miles west. And when we use the Pythagoras theorem, we'll be able to find this guy over here, this equation, because this is where we're going, right? We're going in the southwest direction, right? And the way to do that is using a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. C c squared. C squared. Cool. And so what that looks like is going to be 5 squared plus 10 squared is going to equal our c squared. 5 squared is 25 plus 10 squared is 100. So that's going to equal to 125. And since that's equal to c squared, we have to take the square root of 125, and the square root, I'm pulling out my calculator here, of 125, I think it's going to be like 11. Square root of 125 is going to be 11.18. 11.18. So Jim here is going 11.18 miles southwest. Southwest, because we need direction for our displacement. And I hope that was good. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Venez, venez.